The Odyssey is pretentious and boring. Viral out of the theater reaction confirms our worst fears.
Thousands of unsold seats for Saturday showings of the Odyssey in Hollywood, the epicenter of the woke mind virus.
Everyone who gave this movie more than a half a star is a bot.
New video clip. Elliot Page's Oscar bait role revealed. An honest review of the Odyssey.
Haven't seen it? Never will.
The Hollywood establishment really wants people to watch and absorb woke trash. They manipulate everything they can.
It's 2 hours and 45 minutes of terrible.
We need to talk about the Odyssey. Welcome back to Movies Good, Internet Bad. I'm Corey, that's Shane. And before we even get into this, we need to, for some strange reason, talk about how we've seen the movie and we want to discuss the movie, but we need to discuss the thoughts and opinions of folks who hadn't seen a single frame from it yet. So we're going to cover some of that controversy or non-traversy, as I've been calling it. And then we're going to talk about the movie, which we both found to be shockingly highly enjoyable. A Christopher Nolan movie is a good movie. The sky is blue, the grass is green, I'm bald, and that's why I'm wearing a hat. All right, Shane, so you're the more chronically online of the two of us.
Oh no,
so
that's not good.
Hit me with what is the problem here? What is everybody upset about?
Well, I think what's fascinating about this whole discussion is that we've sort of had this culture war thing going on in media discourse for a long time. But I think this movie specifically is what cements the discourse as like, we have totally lost our way. Like just as a culture, how we talk about movies, how we talk about art in general, every single thing is now viewed under this lens of like, do I agree with this politically? Then it's good. Do I disagree with this politically? Then it's the worst thing to ever exist in the history of mankind. And for some reason, it was like we threw the baby out with the bathwater. Because like I'll give a couple of examples of like where this has happened in the past. Like the Snow White remake, for example.
Yes.
Snow White remake, huge culture war. Rachel Zegler can't be Snow White because she's not white enough. Skin as white as snow, whatever. However, that movie was also really bad, just in general.
Correct.
If you take out any of the culture war stuff, it was a bad movie.
Still a bad movie, yeah.
And so I think people saw, oh, this movie did poorly and it didn't review well. And people said, oh, if you go woke, you go broke. It's proof. It is complete proof.
There's a catchphrase built in and everything.
Correct.
Wow. Amazing.
And then something like The Acolyte comes along. Same thing happens. Yes. Not a very good show, regardless of the diverse cast.
Indeed.
Not a very good show on its own. And it got canceled. Oh, see, it happened again. See, if you just put enough diversity into your film, then it's going to fail.
Fascinating.
And then the Odyssey comes along, and Christopher Nolan casts Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy, and Elliot Page as Achilles, but it wasn't actually Achilles at all, and everyone got really upset for no reason. But Helen of Troy, of course, she can't be black, even though the poem that this is based off gives no physical description of Helen of Troy, and Helen of Troy did not exist.
All that is said about Helen is that she is the most beautiful woman in the world.
Correct.
That's it. That you don't get anything else about height, weight, skin color, straight teeth, crooked teeth, big eyes, small eyes, brown eyes, green eyes, none of it. None of that's there, right? Okay. I'm just checking. I'm making sure that I didn't miss anything here.
But what's fascinating is that everyone saw those two things and said, it's happening again. See?
Oh, no.
Even Christopher Nolan, he's doing this. Elon Musk comes out and said he's only doing this to win an Oscar. Even though Oppenheimer had the exact same standards for diversity and inclusion that this did. And Oppenheimer had like a 99.9% all-white cast. And it won Best Picture. And he won a bunch of Oscars
male cast for that.
True.
There's barely any women in that movie.
Correct. Because the standards don't care about actual cast. It's representation across the entire film, making the film, production, internships. And this movie and Oppenheimer both qualified regardless of cast. So that's not the reason at all. So I've seen that talking point going around over and over again. But I think what's fascinating about this is that like this movie is actually quite good. And you're going to have a bunch of people telling you that it's horrible without having seen it. Maybe having seen I saw some guy tweet today that he saw 90 seconds of it off a cam rip and decided the movie is as bad as he expected it to be. I'm like, You saw
Okay.
90 seconds of the film filmed from a cell phone,
All right.
and you have decided your verdict on the film.
Right on.
And there was this whole thing about let's cancel this film, let's make it flop, let's, it's going to be horrible. Everyone's saying no one's going to go see this movie, and yet
Mm.
all of the box office tracking so far, we're recording this on Thursday,
Yep.
but all the
Right.
indications so far is that it's going to overperform its
Correct.
box office projections.
Yes. So I want to rewind for a couple seconds, and I want to dig a little bit deeper into these Oscar rules and standards
Sure.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. I have the page right here on my computer. You have it on your computer
Yep.
as well, because I sent
Mm-hmm.
it to you before we recorded. The way that this whole thing works for representation and inclusion standards is that there are 4 different standards that the Academy has when it comes to this stuff. There is standard A, which is on screen representation. There's standard B, which is creative leadership in the project team. There's standard C, which is industry access and opportunities, i.e., paid apprenticeships and internship opportunities. And then there's standard D, which is audience development, which refers to marketing, publicity, distribution. In order to qualify, you only have to meet 2 out of those 4 standards. So,
Yep.
in theory, if Christopher Nolan wanted to make the Odyssey, where every single character was a white man, and then every person behind the camera was a white man, he would be able to, and it would be eligible for an Oscar as long as people in those other departments were women or LGBTQ or different ethnicities or what have you. So
Correct.
you can find this. We'll put the link to this in the description in the video if you want to see what we're talking about. Um, the whole point there is don't blindly follow and believe everything that you see on Twitter.
Yep.
Okay, of all places on the internet, that's probably the least reputable to get any of your information for anything.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on. The other thing that is hilarious about all this stuff to me is that this is not Oppenheimer. This is not a movie that is based off of real life history.
Correct.
This is a 3,000-year-old poem that is basically a series of stories that has been passed down from generation to generation that was written by someone, Homer, who we don't even know for certain was a real person.
Correct.
Like if you read the translation of the Odyssey that this movie is based off of, there is a massive forward to the book that's like 30 or 40 pages. And in that, they talk about all of this stuff, where Homer was actually probably more like a couple different people
Yeah.
instead of just one person.
Yeah.
They have no idea what gender Homer actually was. And this is a story where there is a Cyclops, there is a giant whirlpool in the middle of the ocean, there's a 6-headed beast that eats people's heads, there's magic. This is not real life stuff. This is
The
a story,
way,
it's a myth, right?
yeah, I would kind of liken it to a stage production
Yeah.
of the Odyssey, where you see this a lot in Shakespeare plays, where they'll gender swap, they'll race swap. It's just find good people for the part, and it's more of a retelling of the story through a modern lens than it is like a exact representation
Yep.
of what was on the page, which is how the Odyssey has been passed down for thousands and thousands of years. It's a game
Exactly.
of telephone, and this
Yep.
is the latest iteration of that game of telephone. Helen of Troy is not the first Black Helen of Troy.
Oh,
Orson Welles cast a Black woman as Helen of Troy in the 50s, and
sorry, I'm falling. I'm
nobody
falling
freaked out
backwards.
horribly and
Oh my
then
God.
and but I think what is fascinating about this is that it's almost like the high school bullies picked on the small scrawny kids for long enough
Yeah.
that they got confident and they just took a swing at the star quarterback and they're like, "Hi, I can do that." Oh wait, Christopher Nolan
It's
made a good movie.
it's so
This is all
tiring.
shocking.
Like, and the funniest thing about it is that you've talked to me about this off camera, but like those goalposts are on wheels.
Yes,
They're not
absolutely.
cemented in the ground. And
Yeah.
as soon as everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be terrible," and then the first reactions came out, and people were like, "This is mind blowing. This is David Lean style cinema in 2026. This is like a Lawrence of Arabia or a Ben Hur. It's incredible. Go see it. IMAX. This and that." Well, the goalposts, they shifted. And they're like, we'll just wait until the Rotten Tomatoes score comes out.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes score comes out and it's 96%. And
Yeah.
what's even better, because Rotten Tomatoes is dumb, and this is probably a conversation for another video, but 90% could be 90% of critics thought it was a 6 out of 10 or higher.
Right.
But Rotten Tomatoes recently re-included their
Yeah.
average critic score, which as of right now is an 8.8 out of 10 with 246 critical reviews.
Yeah.
If you go on Metacritic, which is a much harsher rating system for this stuff, it says universal acclaim.
Yeah.
Which you're a video game
Well,
person. How
the
often does
goalposts
stuff
now are that all of those people were paid by Universal to give good opinions
right?
about the movie.
So the grift
But
continues.
my question there would be, if that were possible, how would any movie not get a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Correct.
Like everyone was so like when the Supergirl reviews came out and it was like a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, everyone's like, haha, see, it sucks. I told you.
Because
But
it's got a
like
woman in the lead
those are
role.
the same critics that are
Yeah,
reviewing
it's
the
the same exact
Odyssey.
people. Yeah.
So like, come on. But to be fair, this does go both ways. I see it. I think
Oh, now it's really woke if it goes both ways.
so.
Jesus,
I think
Shane.
I think you
Cancel.
see it more from right to left because Hollywood does lean left generally,
Sure.
just
Of course. Yeah,
as
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
body. It's
Mhm.
generally art leans left, and it has for the past however many years of artistic history.
Yep.
It's a very progressive medium. However, you do see the opposite. Like when Supergirl came out, I think I saw some tweets say something around the fact of like, you can't convince me that a story about a woman taking down a pedophile ring can be anything less than a 5 out of 5. And I was like, what does that matter?
Right.
If the movie is bad, it's bad. It doesn't matter like
Yes.
if you agree with the message. You can't just be like, hey, the good guy does a good thing in that movie.
But the movie's
It's a
still
5 out of
bad.
5. Correct. Like the movie is not very good.
Those
And
things
it
can
doesn't
happen
matter.
together.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that we've just detached from reality so far, that like people are not judging films based off of how good is the storytelling, how good is the acting, how good is the cinematography, how good is the music production, how is this crafted as a whole? Is
Yep.
it telling it something in a unique way? It's instead like, oh, they've got people of color on screen. It's the worst movie ever made. Or, oh, they've got people of color on screen. It's the best movie ever made. And it's like, we've just completely lost the plot
Yep.
entirely.
And it's okay if you want to support
Correct.
whatever group of people you want to support. That's perfectly fine. Like I'm a New York Yankees fan. I cheer for the Yankees. I'm not going to go cheer for the Dodgers because they're not the Yankees, right? Whatever. Like, but at the end of the day, the Dodgers won the World Series last year and the year before that. I can't be like the Dodgers suck. They're an
Right.
awful
Right.
team.
Right.
They're just the worst. No, they're really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shane, I would have never thought when I was designing my bingo card for 2026, Big 26, as people have been referring to it online, that the Christopher Nolan movie would be the most movies good internet bad movie that we
Yeah.
review of the
Yeah.
entire year. That
Yeah.
shit just completely blows my mind in so many different directions. But I think at the end of the day, because I'm tired of talking about this already after 10
We
minutes
can
of
get
it.
to the movie. Yes.
If you are really that hung up over a character in a fictional story being played by a black woman, that's on you.
Yeah.
Don't go see the movie.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. Just move on with your life. If that's not your thing, I mean, maybe take a good long look in the mirror at yourself and ask yourself why that's the thing. But
Yeah.
especially when Helen's on screen for what,
2
4 minutes
minutes,
in this movie
maybe.
out of a
Maybe.
180-minute runtime. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so silly. But
Yeah.
anyway, I really liked this movie.
I did too.
I thought it was really good, and I would like to talk about the actual movie now.
Let's
So,
do it. So we talked about internet bad. Let's get to movies good.
let's talk about the movie's good portion of it. Uh, you know what? There'll be spoilers from here on out. I don't want to
Yeah.
try to dance around things. It's a 3,000-year-old story. You probably know something that happens in it already. Shane, I want your unfiltered thoughts, man. What did you think of the film?
So about, I want to say halfway, maybe a third of the way through, I was a little bit worried because I thought it was a little, it opens with a lot of exposition
It
and
does. Yeah.
throws a lot at you right away. Where it kind of lost me was, and this is kind of the problem with the structure of the poem entirely, is go to place, bad thing happens, leave place. Go to
Mhm.
place, bad thing happens, leave place. It's like the number of shots that we have of them just running back to the boats. It's like, all right, we're doing it again. Just
Those are
running back
all
to the
awesome
boats.
shots, though.
They are
They
awesome
all look
shots.
incredible.
The scale is great, but I was getting a little bit bored of the same routine over and over again.
Okay.
And then the movie, about halfway through, kicks into high gear and starts to tie and weave all of the stories
Mhm.
together. And that's where it really found its way. And towards the end of the film, it morphs into something else entirely. It's almost, I find it fascinating that the Trojan horse, it's clear that that's what was so enticing to Nolan with
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
story,
yeah. Which is
was
funny
that
because
framing device in general.
that's all from the Iliad. None of that is
Yes,
in the
correct.
Odyssey.
Correct. But he reframes the story
Mhm.
not as a story of perseverance coming home, but a story of sort of atoning for your sins,
Mhm.
doing a bunch of horrible things and defying the gods, and then punishment for all of that.
Yeah. I thought the movie was very, very much in conversation with Oppenheimer in a weird way,
Yes.
because it
Yes.
was all about the main character doing some questionable stuff, and then even, like, especially even in this one, where there's, like, a somewhat happy ending, right?
Hmm.
He's reunited with his wife, his son takes over and becomes the king, all this good stuff happens. He's on his ship, he's all cleaned up, they're chasing that sunset that they talk about, which is beautifully filmed.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
that sunset shot was incredible. Um, but he has that one little, they do the very typical Nolan, like, memento quick flash of something,
Yep.
and it's the Trojan horse. And
Correct.
it's like he no matter how he lives the rest of his days, he won't be able to get past the atrocities that were committed, right?
Correct.
And I thought, because that's a lot of that is a very big deviation from the
Yes.
source material, but I thought it played much better than the book does. And it just, it really makes you think. It's almost like a, the movie itself is almost like a Trojan horse, because it's kind of an anti-war movie
Correct.
built inside of a war movie.
I thought the same thing. Um, that yes, like the Odyssey is the Trojan horse. The
Yeah.
story of the Odyssey brings you in. He's trying to make a statement on humanity as a whole right
Yep.
now, where everyone hates each other, and people are just doing terrible things to each other. And the overall message of the film is like, be better, just
Yeah.
be nice and
The law of
better to
Zeus,
people.
right?
Correct. That
Yep.
is the message of the film, but he's bringing you in with this 3,000-year-old IP
Mm,
and using it to frame that whole story. And I
yeah.
found that fascinating because it's this weird adaptation thing where no, it's not the intention of Homer to tell that story. But
Mhm,
he does faithfully execute a lot of the story that Homer put
mhm.
forth and then recontextualizes it through a different lens. And so it's both honoring the source material and deviating from it at the same time. I just found it really interesting.
Yeah. It's almost like the most recent person in the game of telephone that you talked about.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's that's all it is. And there will be, I genuinely feel this way. I think this will be a generational type film where people show this to their kids, or it's
Hmm.
shown to kids in school or history class or whatever. Um, and it'll just be the next version of how the Odyssey story is told.
Yeah,
And
there's
really
no
cool.
coincidence that Travis Scott is the bard in the first scene
Of
of the film.
course.
He's the
Yeah.
first speaking spoken line of the film, because it's, hey, this is a new retelling in the year 2026 of
Mhm.
this age old story,
Yep.
and he wants you to know that right away.
Yeah.
But I think there are, it is a lot to take in. It is
Yes, it's
3 hours,
overwhelming.
and for a movie that, we always say this on this channel, that there's 3 hour movies that feel very short and there's short movies that feel very long. I thought this one, actually, I felt its length a little bit. It did drag just a hair for me, but I don't know how you could do it almost any other way.
I feel like I'm with you, but I also feel like it needed like another 20 minutes.
Yeah, It
Either they needed
breezes
to
through
find
a
a
lot.
way to be more economical about some of it, which it
Yeah.
feels like, how could you? Because so much of it is so important,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it needed more. It almost, I honestly feel like it could have been, if he would have done the Iliad and the Odyssey as 2
Yeah,
separate
maybe.
movies,
Yeah.
maybe that would have made it a little easier, but, when these movies cost $250 million to make and they film on all 7 continents and,
Yeah.
it's just like it's just completely bananas. I don't know if they could even make 2 of these because it seems
Yeah.
like it was a pretty tough movie to make, but, how did you feel about the performances in the film?
I think I would go with uneven. I some of them I loved. I thought Anne Hathaway was fantastic
Really
throughout
good.
the whole film.
Really, really good.
Robert Pattinson was great.
Yep.
I wish he'd have been a little bit more weird.
Well, that'll
Like
happen in
he can
Dune. Don't
play, yeah,
worry. Just wait a couple months.
he can play weird very well. I wish he'd have been a little bit more weird. Tom Holland to me was fine. He was
Mm-mm.
just okay.
I didn't even feel
Um,
that way. I thought he was not good.
really? Okay.
So, let me rephrase that because I don't wanna be mean. Uh, I thought he gave an admirable performance, but he was surrounded by titans
Correct.
of the
Yes.
art, right? And
Yes.
it was clear that he was like, I hate to say this because I'm a big fan of all this stuff, it felt like he was the Marvel kid that was plucked into something like this.
Yeah.
But I think it was good for him to get
Yeah.
this type of exposure and be on this type of film set because he will become better
Yeah.
because of this.
Mhm.
And I don't think he was like bad in the
Yeah.
movie. I also especially thought he really looked the part.
He
Like
did
when
look
it's
the
like
part.
a boy on the verge of manhood, I like
Yes.
he has that face and that look and everything for it. It's just when he's in those scenes with Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway, they're acting circles around him, and it's not his fault. They're
It's
just really good at what they do.
Yeah. Well, it's very funny because there's a clip from the press tour where he says, like, "I thought they'd try to call Timothy Chalamet instead of me." But, like, had Timothy Chalamet been in that role, I think he would have been absolutely perfect.
He's too skinny.
But yeah, probably.
He's a
But
wee lad.
no, I think Matt Damon was good. The other performance that, like, was just kind of nothing for me was Charlize Theron. She was just fine. Didn't do
Yeah,
much.
and I think that's
Um,
because of the book deviations. Like,
yeah,
in
could
the
be.
in the book, she is made out to be much more cruel to
Yeah,
Odysseus,
yeah,
and he's almost kinda like a sex slave to her
right.
in the source material, and in this, she's just kinda like, "We had a really great thing, man,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
guess if you wanna
I'm gonna
go, I'll
let you
let
go.
you go,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine." That was a little weird, but, yeah, I feel the same way there. I thought John Leguizamo was great.
Yep.
I thought that Himesh Patel as Eurylochus was very good as well, and Samantha Morton as Cersei
She was great.
completely stole the movie for 20 minutes and
Yeah,
then gave it back. So,
she was
uh,
great. Elliot Page, it's funny because I find Elliot Page in the Hades scene very compelling.
very good. Yeah,
Outside of the Hades scene, not compelling at all.
yeah,
It's weird.
mhm,
Like the performance was dual for me because I felt like it was really, really perfect in that speech about the revenge and taking
mhm,
it back to the other guy. It's Robert Pattinson. I'm
yeah.
not gonna mess up the character names. But then in all of the scenes where it was like him talking to Matt Damon, like before the Trojan horse thing, I was like,
Mhm,
this is a very flat performance.
mhm.
So it was, I don't know, just used up all his energy on the Hades scene.
I thought this was the funniest use of Benny Safdie that I've ever seen
Yeah.
because I don't even think I saw his full face
No, I
at
don't think
any
he did.
point in the
No.
film,
Nope.
and he wears this giant Agamemnon helmet with the mohawk and the giant golden
Yeah.
spine coming down the back of it, and he
Just
he
Ara
just looks
farming.
so tough, and then you hear him talk, and it's just Benny
It's Benny
Safdie's voice.
Safdie. Yeah. Until
Oh, man,
someone builds a bigger horse,
and
but
then he gets got,
yep.
but yeah, I mean, I felt like, when is the next time you're gonna see a cast that's this loaded in a
No, it's
movie?
only
And
Nolan that can do this at this
yeah,
point.
and one of my fears going into the movie was gonna be, okay, well, Spider-Man is trying to stop Batman from marrying Catwoman, and then Jason Bourne's gonna come home and kill them all. But you know what? I just, like,
I
gave
bought
into
it.
it. I bought
Yeah.
into all of it, man. And that is a testament because Matt Damon is a very recognizable
Yeah.
person.
I thought the same thing. I
So
was
good.
like, I've seen Matt Damon in a million things,
Mhm.
but, like, at some point, he just kinda became Odysseus for
Yeah.
me. And like,
Yeah,
I
it
just
was really
forgot
cool.
it was Matt Damon on screen, which that's probably the biggest compliment. I don't think his performance was like over the top spectacular, but the fact that he could get out of his own way and how recognizable he
Mhm.
is a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, I agree, and it's cool to see that many
Yeah.
movie stars working
Yeah.
together on such a massive thing. And so, speaking of massive things, we got to talk about like the technical side of this
Yeah.
because oh my god,
So we both saw it in 70 millimeter.
we did.
By
Yep.
the way, we did not see it in IMAX. I will see
Yet.
it in IMAX tomorrow, full 1.43 aspect ratio. We're going to have another video about the different formats because
Hmm.
Corey is also seeing it in Dolby Cinema on Sunday. So we'll have seen 70 millimeter, Dolby Cinema, and
And
IMAX
IMAX. Yeah.
dual laser. And so we'll have a lot of experience in the different formats. I thought the whole time I just wished I was watching it on the 1.43 screen, which I will
Oh,
tomorrow.
I can't
I feel
wait.
like a lot of those epic shots with the scale are just going to be
Even
like
more massive,
everything in Troy is going to be incredible
dude.
in full aspect ratio.
The staging and the way the character moved with all of those people during the sacking of Troy and the fire and that scene when the gates open and Agamemnon's just standing there and
Yes.
all the people just bum rush in, like that's what you go to the movies for, man.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I had chills at multiple points throughout this film,
Yep.
and most of it was the just the pure spectacle of
Hmm.
it all. Like
Yeah.
when the Cyclops is chasing them back to the ship, it's like, my God,
Yeah.
this is so good. Like
Yeah.
when the six-headed monster attacks their ship after they barely get past the whirlpool, when Cersei's turning the men into pigs, I don't even know how they did that practically. All the
Yeah, that
camera
was
trickery they
wild.
did.
Yes.
I was talking to my lady about it, and I was like, it's not often in today's day and age that you see something in a movie where you go, I've never seen that before.
Yes.
And that was one of those types of scenes. I thought that was
Yes.
really cool.
I thought the Cyclops too, it was sort of like a throwback to like the Harryhausen
Yeah.
days
Mhm.
where it's
Yep.
like just big puppet monster thing and it was just grotesque. And
Mhm.
I loved seeing that stuff on screen because as you said, like we don't see at this point, like you can just CGI anything. And so like nothing impresses me anymore about visual effects. And then they're like, and I think this is why Nolan wanted to do it practically because he's like,
Yeah.
that will impress a lot more people than just throwing a CGI Cyclops in there.
Yep. A CGI Cyclops would have taken me straight out of it
Yep. Yep.
because you would be like, "Yep, that's not
Yeah,
there."
it would border on like goofy at that point. And it
Yeah.
did at times, just a little bit, just a little bit. I was like, oh, this is kind of silly. But you kind of got to go with it because it plays it so straight.
Yeah. Um, I thought so there were a lot of scenes that felt incredibly immersive, but the one that got me the most was when the big lightning storm happens where it separates Odysseus from the rest of his men.
Yeah.
I felt like we were on that boat with them, and the
Yes.
lightning, the rain, the audio was so loud with the thunder
Yes.
during all of that. That is all. There's watching movies as like you're watching a movie, and then there's watching a movie as an experience.
Hmm.
And a lot of this movie, it's like experience, then story, then
Yeah.
experience, then story, and it kind of
Yep.
ping pongs back and forth between those. And every time it gets to one of those experiences, I was just sitting there going, "How?
Yeah,
How do they
it's
do
like
this?"
watching, a classic Spielberg film at some point where it's like Spielberg's known for his big set pieces,
Yeah,
except it's like 20 of them in
yeah,
one movie.
in 3 hours.
Yeah, I will say the one that I think they could have probably cut was the one with the big giants in the forest. I think that one was the least compelling to me. They could have probably cut that, and the movie would have got on just fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's because nothing really happened. They got
Yeah,
off the boat, they saw these giant people, and they were like, "Well, we got to go back because this is not a
correct.
good place
They
for us to
lost more
stay."
men, but, like, you could
Yeah,
have done it in other ways. I think you could have written around that and maybe used some of that space for a little bit more story, fleshing out the characters, or
yeah.
make the movie shorter if you don't wanna do that too, and, that I know that it's because did that I haven't read the book in a long time. Did that one also happen in the book?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I
that's the
get that you wanna be
and
very faithful to the source material, but, like, sometimes you gotta cut stuff that's just not relevant or compelling.
yeah, and those people are cannibals in the book.
Mm. Got it.
They eat people. So the
Got it.
Cyclops eats people, the six-headed beast eats people, and the Lastrygonians, which I think is what they're called, they also eat people. So
Got it.
a lot of people eating, and I'm sure that the bacon that was in Cersei's stew was probably a person
Also
because
people.
he shoots that deer, and then when it dies, it turns into a person, and
Correct.
that's the
Yeah.
tell, which I thought
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Uh,
Yep.
the black sand beach stuff when they did Hades,
Awesome.
unbelievable.
When he was on the boat and he was illuminated by the fire, looking
Oh,
back at all of his men that he failed,
oh
love that. That was
my
perfect.
god,
Yes.
yeah. I think I I don't know what else is gonna even try to come close, but I think Hoyt van Hoytema probably has the best cinematography Oscar already in his cabinet.
Yeah.
It probably just like gave it to him and said, You're good. You don't even have to come to the ceremony. Like it's over."
Yeah,
Um,
there were a number of just very phenomenal shots in that
yeah,
film that will stick with me for a while. What did you think about Ludwig?
I thought it was so interesting, and
I agree.
I so
I thought I would love it more.
well, I think I need more time with it
That's
to
probably fair.
figure that out
Yes.
because I was so overwhelmed by everything else
Mhm.
that I want to listen to it when it comes out on streaming
Yeah.
this weekend, right? Um, there's the musical cue every time he fired or he plucked the bow of the bow and arrow, and the music synced up with it. I thought
So
that was awesome
funny story about that. My screening, I noticed it right away.
the first
The
time, right?
audio was just a hair off from the
Oh
picture,
no!
and so every time that happened, it was, like, just a hair off. I was like, "Damn
Oh,
it."
the
Just
joys
a
of seeing
little
something
bit
on
off.
film, right?
Correct. Yep,
I
yep.
thought that was cool. They did some stuff with percussion,
Mhm.
particularly during the sacking of Troy, where everything is going to get real nerdy. The musical term is an accelerando, where something starts slow and it just very slowly gets much faster. It was like your heart rate was just
Mhm.
pounding as they're making their way through there. I thought all that was really interesting.
Yep.
The music when they got to Hades, Ludwig sprinkled in a little bit of his more modern electronic
Yes.
kind of
Yep,
vibe to it, and I thought that was
yep.
so cool. Honestly, there was so much stuff. I feel like I need to see it again a few more times to really like wrap my head around all of it.
Yeah, it's the again, it throws so much at you, and I agree, this is but there was no big, like, "Can you hear the music?"
No,
type
there
moment
wasn't. Nope.
in here, which Nolan is kind of known for,
Hmm.
those big, like, musical cues with the montages and everything, so I expected maybe a little bit more of that, but he shows a little bit more restraint here, which is interesting. I don't know. I expected Ludwig to do his big, bombastic, almost like Hans Zimmer used to do with
Yeah.
Nolan, and it was a little bit more subdued than that.
So I watched one of the featurettes a couple weeks ago about the music, and Ludwig said that when Nolan approached him about this, he said the first instruction he gave was, "Don't think about an orchestra."
Yep.
So Ludwig he put together a lot of pieces of bronze because it's the Bronze Age,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
used those as some of the percussive instruments. And then there were two different instruments that were period specific to all the way back then that they had to go off like paintings of what the instruments were, and they tried to recreate them.
Gotcha.
And one of them was like a lyre, and then the other one it's almost like a double handed oboe. It's a reed instrument, and the reeds that you would use for something like that literally don't exist anymore. So they
Mhm.
had to like fashion reeds from either an oboe or a English horn or a bassoon or something, um, and they had to do like a ton of experimenting to get the sound that they were looking for. Um, and I thought it really worked because
Mhm.
the movie is a very it's primitive, right? We're way
Yeah.
back in the day before any of this stuff that we have now existed, and it's almost like if it was a full sweeping orchestra, it maybe wouldn't have made as much sense for the type of movie they were making.
Yeah. All right, so my last question for
I
you.
apologize for all of that
No, that's
music
good.
nerd stuff.
This is you as an asset
Yeah,
because I don't know any of that shit.
not often, but every once in a while, I'm here for a reason.
Yeah. So my other question for you, and this might take more time for you to digest it, but where would you
All
rank
right.
this among Chris
Oh
Nolan's
shit.
filmography?
Oh.
You
All
don't have
right.
to say the exact number.
I
Like
so
top third, middle third, bottom third.
I need to look at it. I
Okay.
made a list on my letterboxd
Okay.
of his movies.
My opinion on it is I would put it probably the near the top of the middle third.
Hmm.
Like I don't think it is absolute peak Nolan. It's not bad by any means. Very good, but just a hair off from the highs.
So I rewatched
All
almost
of
all
them,
of his
right? Yeah.
stuff. The only one I haven't rewatched yet is Oppenheimer,
Okay.
because I ran out of time. But my rankings before rewatching were different than they are now.
Okay.
I had Interstellar like halfway through the list,
Hmm.
and after watching it on the 4K disc with the IMAX scenes, and it catapulted all the way up to number two.
Wow. Okay.
Uh, I have Oppenheimer at one, Interstellar at two, Prestige at three, Dark Knight at four, and then the rest. Um,
That sounds about right. I think I would put those four as his top four, and then the Odyssey ranks below those.
I'm inclined to agree with you, but I also need to see it in the other formats before
I do
making that
too.
decision. So I
I saw
think,
Interstellar in 1.43 aspect ratio several years ago, like
yeah,
long after I first saw it, and it was like that really improved the experience
mhm,
for me.
yeah. So I'm you're seeing it in 143 this
Tomorrow.
weekend. I'm seeing it in 143 a week from now. So I think I'm going to reserve my ranking until then.
Okay.
But
All right.
I mean, it's
First,
hard to get
yeah,
into the top
yeah,
tier of his stuff because that
yeah,
those movies are really good.
yeah. I will say the first time I saw Oppenheimer, I was a little bit like I liked it, but I didn't think it was the masterpiece everyone was saying it was. And then the second time I saw it, it catapulted to number one of his entire filmography for me.
So my question for you there is, was that because going into Oppenheimer the first time, you thought the climax was going to be the Trinity
Yes,
test?
correct,
Okay. And then there's that
correct,
whole other hour of courtroom
correct.
drama after it.
Yes,
So what
it
changed the
feels
second
like
time?
it feels like a letdown the first time, but then when you just go with it the second time, it's like now this makes so much more sense. And
Because I
the
think the last
movie,
hour of that movie is incredible.
it's the best part of the film.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference is the first time you're watching it, you think this is a movie about building the atomic bomb. And the second time you watch it, you realize it's a movie about why you shouldn't have built the atomic bomb and all of the consequences of that. And
Yeah.
that's why the second viewing for me worked a whole lot better. And I wonder if this will go similarly because the movie morphs into this message on all of these things, these horrible things happening to Odysseus are an atonement for his sins,
Mhm.
not like shit happens, like a series of unfortunate
Right,
events.
right. Yeah. He honestly, he even tries to steer away from all
Hmm.
of that. Once he knows like his people's fate,
Yep.
he's like, "No, we don't need to go that way because the monster's gonna get us." And then
Yep.
the monster gets them. And he's like, "You don't
Yep.
want to go to that island because you're gonna eat the cows, and then Zeus is gonna kill you all, and then
Yep.
all of that." Like he knows it's not like this stuff happens on accident.
Yep.
He knows that like the hubris of man will eventually bite them in the butt, and he tries to stop it. He even puts the wax in their ears when he goes by the sirens because he's
Yep.
like, I'm the only one that can withstand this and
Yep.
all that. And uh,
I
yeah,
found
it feels a lot like an atonement. I think you're right.
Yeah, and I thought it was also very interesting that in the beginning he is not telling people what their fate will be because he knows that things need to go according to plan.
Yeah.
And then in the end he is telling people
Mhm.
and it still happens the exact same way. And I find that fascinating as well. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And characters can change and grow throughout the
Mhm.
course of a movie. What a
Yep.
concept.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
Um, yeah, for me, the peak of the whole film is when he's talking to Penelope through the screen, and you get the
Oh,
flashback to Troy. All of
yeah.
that, that's like
So
chills
good.
down your spine.
Yep.
Yeah.
The third act, just
Hmm.
crazy, wild
Yep.
third act.
Yep.
Especially when he goes Jason Bourne and just demolishes all the suitors on his own. That's just I feel like we could talk for another 30 minutes about this, but
Yeah, I need cutaways during that whole ending sequence of the guy just being like, Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
well, he kind of is, right?
Yeah,
Because he has
he's just taking out
amnesia
everybody.
when he's with
Oh, that's
Calypso,
true. That is
and
true.
she helps him remember, and then he goes on a killing spree. I mean,
That's true.
Matt Damon was born to play this part, guys.
He was
That's
born to play this part. Hey.
oh, if the drum set was closer, I would tack on it there, man. Do you have any other thoughts before we're
I have so many more, but we've already gone 40 minutes,
40
so we can
minutes? Yeah.
probably end it here.
Yeah, I think this might be the longest video we've done
Probably
in a
so.
minute. But
Yep.
overall, do not wait for this movie to come out on a streaming
Oh
service.
God, no.
Go see it. Go see it on the best format that you can, whether that's whatever is available to you, whatever you can afford. Don't buy a Starbucks latte and use that $12 and go see an afternoon matinee of this film. Just make sure you see it in the theater, because these movies are built to be seen in movie theaters, not on your television, not on your iPad, not on your phone, not while you're on the toilet.
Yep.
Go see it in a movie theater. We're going to have another video where we talk about all the formats once we've seen them in all of those different formats. So be on the lookout for that. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please, please, please drop a comment below. Let us know if you've seen the movie, what you thought of it, what your thoughts are on all the supposed controversy surrounding it. We'll answer every comment that comes through. Check out the older videos. We're going to talk about the other movie coming out this month that has John Bernthal and Tom Holland in it in a couple weeks, which is Spider-Man Brand New Day. But that's for another day and time. So be on the lookout for all of those things and so much more. And until next time, see you guys in the next video.